welcome back to my channel. Today I am here to do the Finally Fall book tag. I cannot remember who started this tag, but I'll find out and link their channel or their video down below. But a lot of booktubers have been doing this tag within the last month or so, and I thought it sounded like so much fun that I decided to do it too. So let's just jump right in. The first prompt is: in fall, the air is crisp and clear. Name a book with a vivid setting. And I felt like this one was a no-brainer for me. I picked one of my all-time favorite books, Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This book follows the story of Laszlo, who is a librarian, and he is just enthralled with the lost city of Weep. And one day he gets an opportunity to visit the city, and the story progresses from there. This is probably the most beautiful book I've ever read in my life, and Laini Taylor does such a good job of describing the setting that you really get a visual of what the city of Weep looks like and what the characters look like, so definitely fits with vivid setting prompt. Next is Nature is Beautiful but Also Dying. Name a book that is beautifully written but also deals with a heavy topic like loss or grief. And for that I chose We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. So in this book we follow college student Marin, and she is alone in her dorm room over winter break. And we know that something tragic has happened, but we're not really sure what it is at the opening of the story. But her best friend Mabel decides to come visit, and Marin is forced to face what happened and deal with her loss and her grief. And this book was really good. It was a really quick read. I think this is only 200 something pages. But the writing was beautiful, and it was written in a way that you just totally identified with Marin. And especially if you've dealt with any kind of loss or grief, you definitely identify with how she's feeling and what she's going through. And this book had me sobbing at the end. It was so good. So I highly recommend this. Next is Fall is Back to School Season. Share a nonfiction book that taught you something new. For that, I chose Eloquent Rage, A Black Feminist Discovers Her Superpower by Brittany Cooper. And this was one of the picks for Our Shared Shelf, which is a book club that Emma Watson runs on Goodreads. And this was very educational for me because it allowed me to see the perspective of a black woman and how she deals with everyday life and how she's treated in everyday life, and how she has decided to just power her anger or her rage into something that is powerful and impactful. So I definitely learned a lot, and I learned about what it's like to be someone who isn't privileged, if that makes sense. Because I can acknowledge that as a white person, I automatically have a level of privilege that some minorities don't. So I think this was very educational for me because it allowed me more insight into how other people live and deal with things like that, and how just as a woman in general I can learn how to channel my anger at the things that are going on into something that can be impactful and help change things for the better. Next is In Order to Keep Warm, It's Good to Spend Some Time with the People We Love. Name a fictional family, household, or friend group that you'd like to be a part of. And it should come as no surprise that I'm going to pick Harry Potter. I would love to be a part of Harry's friend group or a member of the Weasley family. I won't go into this because if you don't really know anything about Harry Potter, it would just break my heart. So we're going to stay happy. But I love Ron and Hermione and Harry's friendship. It's just so wholesome and wonderful, and they support each other. And then I also love the Weasley family. They're so loving and they have fun with each other, and their house is so magical. And I just want Molly Weasley to be like my adopted mom. And every time I go back and read these books, it's just like going home. So I couldn't pick another book for this prompt. The next prompt is, the colorful leaves are piling up on the ground. Show us a pile of fall colored spines. When I think of fall, I think of the leaves changing, and so that makes me think of red, orange, and yellow. So I picked The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, Nice Try Jane Sinner, and What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. And they just look so good together. Next is Fall is the Perfect Time for Some Storytelling by The Fireside. Share a book wherein somebody is telling a story. And for that, I picked one of my all-time favorite books, Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing me talk about this, but I still love it. So this is an oral history of the band Daisy Jones and the Six and the events leading up to their ultimate breakup. And the story is told in interview format from all the members of the band and people kind of related to the band. And I absolutely loved this. I loved this format. It was very interesting to get all these points of view and see the perspective of how people thought or what the reasons were behind the band breaking up. So, highly recommend. And I do have a review for this book. I will link it in the cards. The nights are getting darker. Share a dark, creepy read. And for that I chose And the Trees Crept In by Dawn Kurtagich. Basically anything by her is a really good, dark, creepy read. This is a YA horror novel, and it follows the story of Scylla and Nori, and they arrive at their aunt's home, which is in the middle of the woods, and the house is cursed. Scylla has started to notice that things are a little off, and it seems like every day the trees are getting closer and closer. And this has so many plot twists that it just keeps you guessing. I've listened to most of this on audiobook, and I recommend that if you really want to be creeped out where you have to sleep with the lights on, listen to it on audio. It was so creepy. The days are getting colder. Name a short, heartwarming read that could warm up somebody's cold and rainy day. For that, I chose the Bake Shop Mystery Series, specifically the first book, Meet Your Baker by Ellie Alexander. This is a cozy mystery that follows the story of Jules, and she and her mother run a bake shop Tort in Ashland, Oregon. And being a cozy mystery series, in every book there is a murder, and somehow Jules gets involved in order to help solve the crime. And I'm recommending this series because Ellie Alexander is one of my favorite authors just in general, and cozy mysteries can be fairly cheesy, but her cozy mysteries aren't. They're really well structured and the plots are good, and you actually get invested in the characters, and the setting is really good, and I want to visit Ashland after reading this series because it just sounds gorgeous. And I love the bake shop, and you can smell the cookies being made and everything being baked, and this is just such a cozy series to read on a cold and rainy day. Fall returns every year. Name an old favorite that you'd like to return to soon. But for that, I'm choosing Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. This is one of my top 5 favorite books. This follows the story of Elizabeth Bennet and William Darcy and their kind of hate-to-love relationship. But this is a really good classic, and I think if you're new to classics, this is a pretty good one to start with because it's not long, and Jane Austen doesn't use a lot of over-flowery prose. So the bulk of the book is actually the storyline, not just descriptors. So I highly recommend this. There are funny moments, there are sad moments, you get so invested in the characters, and I just love Mr. Darcy. He's one of my favorite men in literature, just period. So fall is the perfect time for cozy reading nights. Share your favorite cozy reading accessories. So I don't really have accessories. Usually if I'm in the living room, I will have like a blanket that I knit and maybe a pillow, and I'll have my book, and then if it's the summer, I'll have like a cool drink, or if it's cooler, I'll have tea or cocoa, and to me that's just perfect, especially if it's raining outside like it is today. And if I'm in bed reading, I'll just have a bunch of pillows and a blanket, and I'll just be under the covers and have my book and a drink as well. And that is A+ reading settings to me. Finally, it's spread the autumn appreciation and tag some people. If you're watching this, I am just gonna tag you. I don't remember which booktubers did this tag, so if you're watching, consider yourself tagged. If you do end up doing this tag as a result of this video, please let me know so I can go check out your tag. As always, if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button down below. Make sure to click the bell icon so that you can be notified anytime I upload new content. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.